There will be some cases where you can find digital products that are selling very well and actually provide you with their sales page and even the emails they use. If you can find such a product, then go for it, especially if they share their conversion rate. This removes variables from your process, allowing you to fine tune your business model all the more quickly. But that said, not all digital products will provide these materials, meaning sometimes you'll still need to create your own sales page and email sequence. Likewise, there will be times when you see ways to improve the sales page you've received. That's where this video comes in, making things sell. By the end of it, you should know how to take your conversions from a measly 1% and boost them to a highly profitable 10%. The first question is, what is a sales page? The answer is that a sales page is an entire page on a website that is completely dedicated to selling one product. This means there will be no external links to other pages and no other products being promoted. The entire page is designed to draw people to the Buy Now button and to convince them that they should, in fact, buy. Chances are that you will have visited sales pages in the past and you'll know them through their design. These pages are generally vertical and have a very thin passage of text that encourages a lot of scrolling. Now, this is no accident. The act of scrolling down the page makes visitors feel as though they're becoming more committed to the product, and the further they scroll, the less they will normally want to come away empty-handed. It feels like a waste. There will be no navigation and no links to other pages, for precisely the reason that they distract away from the Buy Now option. Finally, these pages are often designed to be either bright red or orange around the edges, and there's a reason for this too. Red and orange are colors that actually cause the heart rate to increase and makes us feel uncomfortable. These colors make us want to act quickly, to leave or to buy, which makes us more impulsive. If you think of fast food restaurants, you'll find that often these are red or orange in terms of their interior design too. The reason is similar. They want to increase turnover and get people out of the store more quickly. That way, they can serve more customers and make more money. Finally, there is one more thing to consider when creating your landing page, and that is trust and barriers to sale. When someone lands on your website and sees that you're selling a product, they will often be very suspicious of you and worried that it's a scam. People still don't like handing over their details online, and so if they think your sales page looks dodgy, they'll often just leave. Your job is to make it as simple for them to buy as possible and to make them trust in the system that you've set up to enable that. This is one of the big advantages to selling products via Amazon Associates. Here, your checkout page is Amazon itself, which makes the buyers much more likely to trust that their details aren't going to get stolen. Likely they already use Amazon, so they might even be able to use the buy with one click option, which you can see here, to save themselves a ton of time and to really encourage those impulsive buying decisions. If you use JVZoo or ClickBank, then the sales page will be built by those sites, and this will likely be a factor to consider when you choose which network to go with. Is their checkout page professional looking? Would you be happy to spend your money through it? But the initial impression you make to visitors will often be down to the landing page itself, so it's worth making sure you put the time and effort in to create something that looks highly professional and trustworthy. One of the easiest and best ways to do this is to use a tool like OptimizePress. OptimizePress is a WordPress theme which you can install with a single click to make your WordPress site into a traditional sales page. When you do this, you'll be using ready-made layouts and images that have been optimized over thousands of sites and that are constantly being refined. Then all you have to do is enter the text. And you can find out more here at optimizepress.com. And as you can see, they have a video on their site that explains how it all works. Remember what we said about not reinventing the wheel. Why make it more difficult for yourself when you already have the means to create something professional and proven? Otherwise, consider using a third-party developer who has a good track record. This is better than attempting to design the sales page yourself and coming up with something that looks less than perfectly professional. Really, though, a convincing sales page is all about your sales script. The text you use to sell your product is going to be the single biggest determining factor when it comes to your conversion rates, and this is something that is highly worth taking the time to learn. There's a lot to this, though, so please bear with me while I explain the ins and outs of good persuasive writing. The first and biggest challenge when it comes to making sales will be to grab the attention of your visitors and to communicate that there's something here worth reading and that they shouldn't navigate away from the site. The unfortunate reality these days is that most people are in a rush all the time, have lots of work to do, and don't have time to read through large amounts of text. That means you can't expect your audience to stick around unless you give them a very good reason. You need to grab them with a hook right away and then reel them in. One of the best ways to do this is to give your sales page a narrative structure. This means that you need to turn your pitch into a story that your audience can relate to. The reason this is so effective is that we always want to know how stories end. Have you ever started watching a trashy program late at night that you don't care about, only to find yourself unable to look away until the very end? In such scenarios, you'll often watch for hours, even though you aren't enjoying it. This is the power of narrative, and it's a very human impulse that you can use to your advantage. Another advantage of using a narrative is that it makes the situation more relatable. By telling people that you used to be in the same position as them, you can get them interested, and at the same time, you'll be much more convincing. This, in fact, is the basic structure of many a successful sales page. Introduce a problem, then offer a solution. If you're selling a book on abs, then the problem is lack of fitness or the inability to lose weight. The solution, of course, is your ebook, and you're going to frame all this in a first person narrative where you discuss how you were once overweight until you found this incredible strategy that they can read about in your ebook. Obesity, tiredness, and sluggishness are one type of problem. This is an emotional and abstract problem that you can make anyone relate to. The other type of problem is something specific and simple. For instance, if you're selling an ebook on stage lighting, as we discussed earlier, then you would look for a very specific and simple problem in this niche. Perhaps people struggle to afford the stage lighting equipment they need. Maybe the lights keep falling over. I'm not an expert in this field, and that's why it's not a niche that I would choose. Remember, we discussed picking a field you're familiar with. Anyway, the point is that selling a product which answers a very specific need is always a good strategy, as it simplifies your job to finding people who have that problem. This should come into play when you pick your product. Find a product that solves a clear and easily defined problem. The other things that grab attention are bold statements and rhetorical questions. Rhetorical questions work well because they force the reader to think and reflect. This means they can't just glance over the text and not take it in, but now have to actually engage with it and think about what it means for them. Bold statements, meanwhile, grab attention simply through their brazenness. This could mean that you open up with an unbelievable figure or with a controversial claim. You can then explain yourself later, but initially, this is a great way to get people to stop what they're doing and read. Just as you need to quickly grab attention, you also need to make sure that you hold it and don't let it go, even for a minute. This is where flow comes in, and it's very important to make sure that your text flows smoothly and without obvious breaks. The text should be so compelling that it pulls the reader in from one line to the next without giving them the time to think to leave. This is another reason for the long, narrow design that so many sales pages use. It naturally encourages flow. The same is true with short sentences and lots of space. Ideally, you want to make your content as skim-friendly as possible, especially considering that most web users skim and don't read. You do this by spacing out your text, but also by using lots of headers. In fact, it's generally considered good practice to write your headers so that the entire narrative of the text can be discerned simply by reading the headings. This is also a reason that sales pages will often underline and bold sections. A massive, dense block of text will always be off-putting and hard to read by someone in a hurry. On the other hand, though, imagine a text that spaces out its sentences. that uses a lot of bold statements, and that engages the user with a strong narrative and rhetorical questions. How much more effective might that be? See the difference? Another consideration when it comes to flow is maintaining the interest of your audience and ensuring that your content is never dull or boring. If you start repeating yourself or if the quality of your writing drops, you can lose your readers. A good solution here then is to read the text through yourself and to get other people to, and then identify the points where you occasionally lose interest. Once you do, just fix that section by spacing it out or using more interesting language. Finally, you can also make sure you hold attention by directly addressing the concerns of the reader. The big problem you're contending with here is people saying, yeah, but. If they've heard your pitch before, then they'll be cynical and they won't engage with what you're saying. That's why it's your job to anticipate the problems they'll have and then answer them before they become an issue. That's why you'll often encounter the "I know what you're thinking" line. I know what you're thinking. This is just another training program that you'll never complete. You've tried countless just like it, right? What makes this one any different? I had the exact same thought, but see, that's where brutal ab training is so effective, because it works so quickly and because it's such a fun challenge, it's incredibly easy to stick to. Now, that last paragraph would be very effective at convincing people that your product isn't just like every other. But if you want to take it one step further, you can also reference statistics or authority figures. While we all know that statistics are remarkably easy to manipulate, this doesn't prevent them from being very effective tools for persuasion. Follow that last statement up with a statistic, then you make it much more believable and convincing. For instance, because this works so quickly and because it's such a fun challenge, it's incredibly easy to stick to. Maybe that's why the program has a success rate of 95% over 3,000 users. Equally effective would be to quote an authority in your field, as this can similarly lend weight and credence to your statements. Even just quoting a user can be effective, especially as social influence plays such a big role in decision making. If you have quotes from a bunch of people singing the praises of your program, then it not only makes the program sound effective, it also makes it sound like something that's new and exciting that everyone is trying. In turn, that greatly increases the desirability associated with it. Most important of all, though, when it comes to your sales page, is to keep in mind your value proposition. A value proposition is essentially the thing that you're promising to do for your buyer via the product. This is what gives the product its value. This should be at the forefront of your sales pitch because it's what will give the product you're selling its emotional hook. And most things that we buy are based on emotion rather than logic. The old saying goes that you don't sell a hat, you sell a warm head. It's much easier to sell a warm head because a cold head is a problem, and a warm head is something that will make people happier and make people comfier. Likewise, if you're selling an ebook on fitness, then you aren't selling a book. Instead, you're selling fitness, you're selling confidence, and you're selling a better love life. These are all valuable things that having abs provides you with. Selling a book on making money online? Then you're really selling financial freedom and freedom from debt or money problems. This is incredibly important as it ultimately is what's going to get your readers to really want your products rather than just being interested. This creates the emotion that will lead to the snap decision to buy, as long as you've made your sales page look professional and you've provided lots of opportunities for people to click your call to action button. When you get people reading your sales page, you're really trying to stir up a nice little neurochemical cocktail in their brain. You want to get them to focus with your bold statements, your narrative structure, and the problem you've outlined that needs to be solved. You've then focused on the value proposition and you've got them imagining what life would be like with those abs or with all that money. This then creates a real sense of desire and makes the reader feel as though they must have the item you're promoting. Finally, you're going to create anxiety. The anxiety comes from the thought that the product won't be around forever and that it's going to disappear or go up in price. You actually have no control over whether that's true as an affiliate, but that doesn't mean your sales page can't vaguely allude to the idea that the product won't be in stock forever or that the price will likely go up in the near future. This creates urgency, and that in turn prevents the user from wanting to leave the site and think about it. You need to make sure they act now rather than later. You can do this by offering a limited time discount. Some affiliate schemes give you flexibility over the pricing. Or by saying there's only a limited stock and thereby creating scarcity. And this also makes the product seem more popular. Now you'll get that knee jerk sale that you're looking for. Finally, you should also try to remove any risk associated with the product. This is important because human beings are naturally loss averse. This means that we are more motivated by avoiding loss than we are by achieving gain. So if you let someone play a game where they had a 75% chance of earning $100 and a 25% chance of losing $20, they may still not play. When we're buying, this comes into play if we think the product might be low quality or if we think it could be a scam. That's why you should always offer a 100% money back guarantee. Better yet, consider offering a try before you buy. All the big affiliate networks offer the former, while there may be ways you can provide the latter, giving away the first chapter after checking with the product creator, for example. Either way, this will help you remove any reason that the reader has not to buy.